Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Narissa Nicole. If you're new here, I like to post videos about time saving and money saving kitchen hacks, quick recipes, and cooking tips to become more efficient and creative in the kitchen. And today I am doing just that by sharing 3 new pumpkin recipes that you have to try this fall. I can't wait for you guys to try them, so let's get started. All right, I'm so excited to share these with you. The first recipe is an easy pumpkin pie twist, and it's kind of a unique little dessert. I've never made anything like this before, but we're going to use crescent dough and a yummy filling to make these twists and dip it in whipped cream. You know, because whenever you have pumpkin pie, you usually put whipped cream on the top. So this recipe in total takes about 20 minutes, so it's super simple. So the ingredients are going to be refrigerated crescent rolled dough, just 1 tube, half a cup of pumpkin puree. Again, don't worry because you can use that pumpkin puree for the rest of these recipes, or I have a ton of other pumpkin recipes on my channel too, so you can use that all up. A quarter of a cup of brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of maple syrup, 1 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, a couple tablespoons of melted butter, a tablespoon of sugar, half a teaspoon of cinnamon, and then again that whipped cream for dipping, which is optional. So we're going to mix together the pumpkin puree, brown sugar, maple syrup, and pumpkin spice all in a small bowl. And this is going to be our filling. And it doesn't look like a lot, but it's actually plenty. You might even have a little bit left over. So we're going to unroll our crescent dough and roll it out onto a baking sheet that we have lined with parchment paper. And this is necessary, trust me, because it is going to get a little bit messy and it's going to make for much easier cleanup if you just lay a piece of parchment paper down. So roll out your crescent dough and cut it in half so you have 2 equal portions. And we're going to top 1/2 with that yummy pumpkin filling from edge to edge. Go ahead and spread it out and then top that piece with the other piece and sandwich that pumpkin pie filling in between the 2 pieces of crescent dough. Now you may be thinking, wait, don't you need to pinch together those perforated triangles for the crescent rolls? But I didn't take the time to do that. You definitely could, but mine turned out okay. So if you want to skip that step, just go ahead. Now here comes the messy part. We're going to cut strips of the sandwich here so that we can twist them together. So I just kind of used a pizza cutter to line up my twists or my strips evenly and used it to cut. So you can see the filling is kind of coming out the edges, but that's okay. We're going to twist it all up and it's going to be fine. So you can leave them like that, leave them long twists, or you can cut them in half and make more, which I actually do recommend cutting them in half because, you know, it's a dessert. It is kind of rich and that's a little bit of a better portion, I think, using half of a strip. So I'm just going to arrange them on the parchment paper, spacing them out as evenly as I can because we don't want them touching when they bake. And then we're going to twist. So just pick up one end, twist it, pick up the other end, twist it. So you don't have to actually pick up the whole piece because it's already messy enough. But you can see, just twist one end one way, twist the other end the other way, and you have these perfect little twists. So you can see what I mean. They're messy. Now, if you're going to share these with other people, like that's not your family, you might just want to go ahead and use gloves. It might make you feel better, you know, but if you're just serving this to family, you know, they don't care that you touched it with your bare fingers. But there is a lot of touching going on with this recipe. So if you're making it to share with other people, go ahead and just use some disposable gloves. All right, next we're going to top it with cinnamon sugar. So you mix the sugar and the cinnamon together and just sprinkle it on top. Now, don't have a light hand with this. Go ahead and use quite a bit because I actually wished I would have added a little bit more. All right, so I baked these for about 10 minutes, somewhere between like 8 and 11 minutes at 375 until they were golden brown. And they were so good. I love pumpkin pie. I love anything pumpkin. Obviously, you can tell I post a lot of those videos, but dip this in whipped cream and it is the perfect fall inspired treat. You are going to love it. All right, next up are these pumpkin spice Rice Krispie Treats. If you make anything, make this. It's so simple and it's so good. I shared this with my family at a cookout and they were like, wait a minute, what is that? What is that flavor? duh, pumpkin spice. And they really, really liked it. Everyone loved these pumpkin spice Rice Krispie Treats. So definitely make these. They're so simple. So we're going to start off by measuring out some pumpkin. A 1/4 cup is all we need. So you can use part of the can that you use for the pumpkin pie twists if you want to go ahead and do that. And then we are going to melt some butter in a pot. Now you want a big enough pot to add a bunch of Rice Krispie cereal. So melt about 4 tablespoons of butter in your big pot, and then go ahead and add that 1/4 cup of canned pumpkin. And next we are going to melt our marshmallows. So you're gonna need 1 big bag of marshmallows. I use mini marshmallows, whichever marshmallows you want to use. You know, they do make some different flavored marshmallows. I bet that would be pretty good to kind of switch up the flavors here. So you can see I had help with this recipe, but go ahead and just stir your marshmallows and your pumpkin and your butter all together, and they're gonna melt pretty quickly. And add the pumpkin pie spice. 1 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice is all you need here. Mix it all up until it's all melted and well combined. Now, then here's an optional step. If you want to go ahead and add a couple drops of orange food coloring to really make the orange color stand out, you can do that. I didn't, and maybe if I did, my family would have known that they were pumpkin. The pumpkin flavor would have been a little more obvious, I guess, if they were a little more orange, but I didn't add any food coloring. So once your marshmallows and butter and pumpkin spice is all combined, melted and combined, add 6 cups of Rice Krispies cereal to this and mix, mix, mix. Now, this is the messy part of this recipe. I haven't made Rice Krispie Treats in a really long time, and I forgot how fun it was. So I'm going to line my 9x9 pan with a little parchment paper cradle and spray the liner. And if you are interested in that oil sprayer I have, I'll link it down below. It's like the best purchase ever. I use it all the time. I love it. It's much better than the one I had before. So once I got my little cradle in there, I just pressed the Rice Krispie mixture into the 9x9 pan, and then it's going to get real sticky real fast. So you can spray your parchment paper, spray your utensil, even spray your hands, and mash down the Rice Krispie Treats in a nice little square in your pan. I use a piece of parchment paper. Now don't compress them too much because that will make them like hard as a rock and like a brick, but we want to make a nice square. All right, so next I'm going to take some chocolate chips and melt them down to top this with a white chocolate drizzle. So this definitely adds a little extra to these Rice Krispie Treats too. So just melt some white chocolate chips in the microwave at like 30-second increments so that they don't overcook. If you heat them up too much, it'll actually get thicker, and that's no fun. You'll have to start over again. So just do slow increments and melt the chocolate so it's nice and slow and you don't overheat it. And then just go ahead and put that melted chocolate in a little sandwich bag and use that as a little piping tip so that you can have control over the chocolate and make it nice and pretty. So just snip the end off, and then I just did sort of like a checkered pattern or crosshatch pattern here, but you can do any design that you want. So I just went back and forth with the white chocolate, and then you're gonna let these cool. I suggest letting them cool longer than I did, but I was in a hurry and we were going to the cookout. So I took them out of the pan prematurely and they didn't have a chance to completely cool. So mine were a little soft, but that's okay. They were still excellent. So you see how that little parchment paper cradle made getting them out of the pan so much easier. These would actually be really fun to bag up individually in like a little trick-or-treat goodie bag or a fall goodie bag and share them individually. I think that would be really fun. So I got them all cut up and plated up for the cookout. These were definitely a hit. You have to try these Rice Krispie Treats. Okay, the last recipe is this no bake, no wait dessert dip pumpkin fluff. Everyone will be asking for this recipe. It's super simple. It's only 4 ingredients. And this is like the best fall recipe to serve to guests, especially when you need something quick. I actually took this to another cookout. I needed something really quick. So the ingredients you're going to need just for 1 whole can of pumpkin puree, like the 15-ounce can, the small can, 1 small package of vanilla pudding mix, 1 container of the frozen whipped topping like Cool Whip thawed. I think it's about 12 ounces. And then 1.5 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice. All right, mix it all together. That's all you do. Put it all into a bowl, mix it all together. And you can use an electric blender if you want to, or a whisk, or like me, I just used a spatula, and mix it well until everything's all combined. Now you can serve this with all kinds of things like apples, graham crackers, vanilla wafers, but I had some pie dough in the refrigerator that I needed to use up. So I thought, what better than to make some little pie crust bites to use to dip with the fluff. So I'm going to do that. So I threw out some flour onto my table, and you can see I'm going to have a helper again. He loves to bake. It's so funny. But I'm going to take this dough. It actually was frozen and it was fine. I had it in the freezer, not the refrigerator, and it was perfect for this use. So I'm just going to roll out the dough, and it would be awesome if I had a little like maple leaf cookie cutter. I didn't. If you do, definitely use that, or a pumpkin cookie cutter. I had these little cutters that I use for the kids' lunches sometimes, just a circle. But using different shapes would be even more fun. So after I got all the circles cut out, I went ahead and basted them with plenty of melted butter. Now I went light on the butter again. Don't go light on the butter if you do this. Go heavy on the butter. And then I sprinkled them with cinnamon sugar again. And if you don't have homemade pie dough, just grab some from the store. It comes in 2 pieces, and that will be plenty for this. And that pie dough is really good as well. So I baked these off in a 350-degree oven until they were golden brown, and I used these to dip the pumpkin fluff. This was an awesome little dessert, so simple, and then stepping it up a notch by making these homemade pie crust chips was a little extra, but so good. So I just plated some of these up and put some of my pumpkin fluff in a small little serving dish, and this was a great snack. We devoured this. It was so good. Everyone at the cookout loved it too, and I also included some graham crackers to dip as well. There you have it, 3 new pumpkin recipes. I hope you guys enjoy these. If you made it to the end of this video, leave me a pumpkin emoji down in the comments below. I'd love to know if you made it to the end of this video. Also, if you like this video, you might like these too. Thank you so much for watching. I hope everyone is having a great fall so far, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.